Hey, what's up guys? Hardleg Joe here, the What a Deck profile for the pure Digital Bugs deck. I'll just go over everything in here and then explain how it works. So for monsters, we're playing 2 Honest, 3 Digital Bug Centipede, 3 Galaxy Worm, 3 Bachi Bachi Bachi, 3 Digital Bug Web Solder, 3 Digital Bug Ladybug, and 3 Digital Bug Cocoon Denser. For spells, we're playing the Triumvirate of Destruction, which is 1 Raigeki, 2 Dark Hole. We're playing 3 Twin Twisters, and 3 Swords of Concealing Light. For our traps, 3 Bug Emergency, 3 Quaking Mirror Force, 3 Curse of Anubis, and 2 Zero Gravity. The extra deck is 2 Digital Bug Rhinosebus, 3 Digital Bug Corebage, 1 Constellar Hades, 1 Giga Brilliant, 1 Ghost Trick Alucard, 1 Leviair the Sea Dragon, 3 Digital Bug Scaradiator, 1 Mech-equipped Engineer, 1 Dante, and 1 F-Zero Utopic Future. The side deck, I'll go over in a moment. So the Digital Bugs are kind of an Ixie rank-up deck. They focus on level 3 light insect monsters, and they mainly make this guy, Digital Bug Scaradiator. I think that's how you say it. Comment in the comments. But there's 2 or more level 3 light insect monsters. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach 2 materials to target 1 monster your opponent controls, change its battle position, and if you do, its effects are negated until the end of this turn. Also, once per turn, if this destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can attach that monster as Ixie's material. So it's only got 1800 attack, not a whole lot, but the Digital Bugs kind of focus on shifting things to defense position, and most monsters these days have lower defense than their attack. We also have a couple things that help lower their defense, in particular Curse of Anubis is change all effect monsters on the field to defense position, and until the end of the turn their defense becomes 0. We've also got things like Swords of Concealing Light that'll flip all your opponent's monsters to face down defense position, and Quaking Mirror Force that when they attack they're shifted to face down defense position. So, and Zero Gravity, which will change the battle position of all monsters on the field. So we've got a lot of ways to shift them into defense position with our spell traps. Also, the Digital Bugs themselves, all of the main deck monsters, they give an effect when they're used as Ixie material. In particular, Web Solder, if you use this for Ixie material, all your opponent's monsters are shifted to defense position, and their defense becomes 0. So it's pretty easy with this deck to move things into defense, attack them over with Scaradiator, and then absorb them into it, which will not only keep things out of their graveyard so you're denying them resources, but it gives him more material so you can use his effect, or possibly rank up. The way the Digital Bugs rank up, actually, is they've got these higher level ones, like Corebage. This is 2 level 5 or light monsters, which we of course don't have. But you can also Ixie summon this by detaching 2 materials from a rank 3 or 4 Ixie-type monster that you control. So of course you can just get rid of both of the materials to make this, and it'll only have 1 material, just the Ixie monster. Or if you happen to absorb a monster first, then when you detach both, this will have 2 material on it, and you can rank it up even further into the Rhinosebus, which is the same thing, just detach 2 from a rank 5 or 6 light Ixie monster to summon this. These 2 are more situationally useful. Corebage you can detach to target a defense position monster your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. And once per turn, if a battle position of a monster on the field is changed, either yours or your opponent, you can attach 1 insect monster from your graveyard to this card as Ixie material. So again, it has ways to add more material to itself, and using some of these other effects, especially if you have this and a Scaradiator, you use its effect to negate, and then when their monster is shifted to defense position, you can equip 1 from your graveyard to this. And again, this is just really good for things that Scaradiator can't attack over. If you have no way to lower their defense, this can just shuffle them into the deck. Finally, we have Rhinosebus. This has 2600 attack, does piercing, and during either player's turn, you can detach to destroy the monster your opponent controls with the highest defense. And if all the monsters your opponent controls have the same defense, then you destroy all of them. That's particularly important because, again, with Web Solder or with Anubis, you can make all their defense position monsters at defense become 0, so you can just wipe their whole field with this. Or at very least, just wait for them during their turn and destroy whatever monster they happen to normal summon. Unfortunately, all the Digital Bugs just limit you to light insect Ixie-type monsters, which just limits you to the Scaradiator and Giga Brilliant, who's alright for giving an attack boost to your monsters, but not the best option. We have the other ones in here because we have a couple other level 3s that aren't limited, and just in case, you know, it's kind of a toolbox. The only things I would really suggest you have is a Dante, because getting cards in the graveyard can actually be pretty good with this deck. Mech-equipped Engineer, because again, it can change the battle position of monsters during your opponent's turn. It got a cool quick effect. And just Utopic Future. If you happen to make 2 of these and use both their effects, you can then overlay them to make this, instead of just sitting there with 2 1800 beat sticks on the field. So now that you know the extra deck, let's talk about how you summon it. I mentioned all the digital bugs have effects when you use them as Ixie material. Web Salters I already went over. Ladybug is when that monster destroys a monster by battle, you can draw a card. Cocoon Denser, if it attacks a defense position monster, your opponent can't activate anything, so it's kind of a steamroller effect. Centibit, the monster can attack all defense position monsters your opponent controls. And then we've got the Bachi, which lets the monster do piercing damage. In addition, all the digital bugs have some way to summon another monster or go plus in some way. Ladybug and the Centipede are kind of slower. That says, if it's changed from attack position to defense position, you can special summon a level 3 insect monster from your deck in defense position. And this one, same thing. If it's changed from attack position to defense position, you can add a level 3 insect from your deck to your hand. These are actually pretty decent. You can normal summon them, and usually you have stuff to defend them, like the Quaking Mirror Force or the Zero Gravity. And actually, if you use either of these effects to move them into defense position during your opponent's turn, like in the battle phase to prevent them from being attacked, it'll also activate their effect, so then next turn you can go into something else. The 2 more useful ones, the Web Solder, this is once per turn you can target a face-up attack position monster, change it to defense position, and special summon a level 3 insect from your hand, and that includes itself, so if you have this and any other digital bug in your hand, you just change it to defense, summon it. Cocoon Denser, same thing, change a monster to defense position, and then summon a digital bug from the graveyard. So this requires a little bit of setup, this requires a little bit of hand advantage, but they're both going to let you go into a rank 3 that turn without having to wait like the other ones. Bachi doesn't have a summon effect, it's just there because it's another light insect, so you can actually use it with either of these effects. And then finally, Galaxy Worm, which is actually an OCG card, so you can't play this in America yet, unfortunately. I don't usually play OCG cards, but the deck doesn't really work all that well without it, unfortunately. This is just another light insect, and when it's normal summoned, if you control no other monsters, special summon a level 3 or lower Galaxy effect monster from your deck, but its effects are negated. So you basically just use this to summon another version of itself. Since it's a light insect, you can go into this, and if you want to, because it's not archetype locked, you can go into any of your other rank 3s. The only other monster we have in here is the Honest, which you should know what this does by now if you're any familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! We play entirely light monsters, so it works with either of these. Again, just sort of this, if you need to wait a turn, put out Centibit with Honest in your hand, they attack it, you gain the attack, and then you've stalled yourself another turn, so you can shift it to defense position and summon another one. Other than that, we've just got the Dark Hole and Raigeki, because this deck needs field wipes. There's a lot of things that these can't get over. Twin Twister for getting rid of spell traps and for setting up the graveyard for Cocoon Denser. Swords of Concealing and Quaking set things face down. These changed battle positions. And then Bug Emergency. This is a great recovery card. Target 2 level 3 insects in your graveyard. Special summon them. Their effects are negated. So once you've got 2 monsters in the graveyard, you just get them back. You can make another Ixie monster. Their effects are negated, but you still can only special summon insect monsters that turn, so you're still limited to basically your Scaradiator and your Giga Brilliant. But it's still pretty decent for getting your play started. It also has a graveyard effect. You can banish this card and 1 Ixie monster from your graveyard. The levels of all level 3 insect monsters you control become equal to the banished monster's rank until the end of the turn. That's particularly useful because once you get a Corebage into the graveyard, you can banish it, your monsters become level 5, and then you can go right into the Corebage and then detach to go into Rhinosebus without having to go through all the different steps. And that's pretty much just the deck. It's just stalling, flipping things face down, using Honest, and baking these to stun out your opponents. As for the side deck, these are mostly just other options you can use. There's not an actual side deck. You can do Inferno Reckless Summon because you're doing a lot of special summoning of smaller monsters, so you can get out a whole bunch of them. And the way Scaradiator works is it's two or more level 3 light monsters. So if you happen to get like 4 of these on the field, you can use all of them as material and then instantly rank up. Foolish Burial if you just want to send ones to the graveyard. Galaxy Cyclone for more spell trap destruction. Plus it's good in the graveyard if you want to use it for like Dante or something like that. Another Engineer. There's a couple other level 3 insect monsters. They don't entirely work because you need light insects. But given how well you can stall with this and change battle position, Swarm of Scarabs and Swarm of Locusts can work pretty well. Likewise, Mimic, if your opponent controls a monster, you control level 3, special summon it from your hand, which works really well with the Inferno Reckless Summon to get a whole bunch of level 3s on the field. And then just finally, Book of Eclipse. This is probably the one thing I would run in the side deck. If you want a little bit faster, flipping things face down, not have to rely on these traps, this can work. Although it's a double-edged sword, because if you can't destroy the monster you flip face down, your opponent gets to draw a card at the end phase. And then finally, Ojama Trio. This just works because it creates the 3 Ojama tokens on your opponent's side of the field with 1,000 defense. Because they're in defense mode, because they have low defense, you can get over them with your bugs. If you use Centipede, you can attack over all of them. You can draw cards with them, do piercing. And it just clogs up your opponent's field in general. So just a good way to be able to activate your effects. Of course, you can't equip them because they're tokens, and tokens can't be Ixie material. So there you go. There's your deck profile for this week. Hopefully you enjoy it. Be sure to check out the full episode, because it's pretty neat, I tell you what. And Captain Carsworth will be there. He's actually here now. He's just being really silent.
Hello.
So check that out. Should be fun. Next week I'll be looking at another Patreon request. It'll be kind of a surprise. Until then, good luck and have fun.